get a little bit bogged down in matches, but not so at this early stage.
Yeah, and in that previous shot he pushed a red safe, which actually with the lead he's got, maybe not the worst thing, just a bit of security. Just looking, as they all are, to settle down. Of course, he's had a match already. Ken Doherty coming in cold, albeit it wasn't on the main TV table with the cameras. Ken was released from quarantine this morning when he got his wristband. I saw him practicing quite early actually this morning.
Yeah, I saw him early at breakfast, but yeah, I mean, not only, as you say, in quarantine, but you're sort of, you're playing someone who's had a match, and while you're in quarantine, they're not.
23.
But, so I guess it does level things out. I think the player who's played a match already has an advantage. Anyway, yeah, we're certainly hoping he's on this black. The red is a little close for comfort to the cue ball. He hasn't come round to have a look yet. But he's on it.
Well, looking good to win the opening frame and just pile the pressure on Ken Doherty. I don't think he would go to Q school, Ken, so unless, if he did drop off, unless he got a 2-year wild card, then it looks like his professional career is over.
Yeah, no, that would be a great shame. You know, let's see how things develop in this match, and you know, whether he would find a way of extending his career. But it'd be sad to see Ken not be a part of the tour any longer.
No, the black is not there. Wow, what a chance that was as well.
Has he got a little bit fortunate? I think that perhaps the red that he played on is now covered by the other one he's touching. Now there is a red that goes up into the yellow pocket past the blue there, but it's a little, perhaps Ken should have been on an easier one than that, you would be thinking. Well, he can get through to that one. I don't know why he wouldn't think to play it. Maybe he's playing the double, getting the safe red into play. Wow, that's a brilliant shot. That is a brilliant shot. Playing that, getting the safe red out. The fact that he was behind by almost 40 points. He thought, well, I need that red anyway. Now's as good a time as any to play. So that's why they call him Crafty Ken. Terrific.
They also call him the Darling of Dublin, which he was there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the red up into the yellow pocket was clearly an easier shot, but he would still have had the problem with that red. And I guess if he'd missed the double, you know, all the reds were in play for another chance.
Well, he's missed it. I was going to say, it's a chance he didn't think was coming in the frame, but it's a chance that's gone by, I'm afraid.
Yeah, disappointed there because he actually got the cannon and finished on the black as well.
So a slightly nervy start. That was a definite chance, having got the initial double for Doherty. But that red is not in. So it's, as I say, a bit edgy early on.
Yes, and we were right behind that, and Fraser Patrick did not hit it with any confidence whatsoever. If it's in the back of your mind at this game that you're going to miss one, then you probably will miss it.
Of course, there are lots of matches here, and Gerald Green's won the first frame against Ollie Lyons. That's the younger of the Lyons pair. Of course, we had Peter with us yesterday. The red that Patrick missed, it has run safe, so that's now, I guess, the key ball in this frame.
Eight.
He's on the current provisional seedings list, he's 70th. That's with all the results factored in today. And on the one-year list, 11th. Got to be in the top 4 on the 1-year list, top 64 on the 2-year list. So clearly he's got to win this match. Jordan Brown, that was on the screen there on the graphic. He's taken the first against Rory McLeod.
30.
Well, the red that's safe is, of course, the one that he missed at his previous visit, and as I said, I think his disappointment was not only the missing the pot, but then the fact that it went awkwardly. You just get the feeling that while this is the first frame in the best of 11, both players have had chances, and it might tell us something about who's going to win the match. It's only one
40.
frame, but it just might be a bit of a trend. He's not had a look at the blue up and down and knock the red out. He must have an angle, I guess, here. It looks a little straight on the yellow. I'll have to force this to get the red in play. There's a better effort than it looks. A little unlucky.
16. Ken Doherty, 16.
Oh, that's a terrific shot, and that's where the differences in players who have been there. Ken's a former world champion, and a situation like that, which looks pretty innocuous, you can actually see a player end up with a huge advantage. A terrific shot from Ken.
Foul. Ken Doherty, 4.
Well, it could not really have worked out any worse, could it?
No, I don't think he could really had any obvious control over that. He had to hit the ball. It was one of those snookers where you can do it, play at a nice pace. He knocked the brown and left the red on, and all of a sudden an early turnaround here.
1.
Well, he had a couple of good chances in the balls earlier on in the frame, did Fraser Patrick. I don't think he expects to get another one now. Yes, one thing, of course, this man has in spades is experience at the top level, the highest level of them all, standing on the Crucible stage on the last day. They're already rigging the Crucible, putting the tables in. World Snooker Services, who do that, have put pictures up on Twitter. So we're just a week away, and this man would love to be there, possibly for the final time. He'd love to walk out again as a player in the tournament.
6. Nine.
Yeah, just got to finish it off now, up until including the pink required here.
$30.
Come too far, so he wouldn't have played it like that. It should be all right, but he's got to come up and down the table, and he'll need the pink, like I say.
18.
One of these, you don't want to overrun shots, and he is overrunning everything a little bit. I wouldn't like to say he played on the pink in the middle as it happens. Could have finished on it worse than he has. Frame ball.
$24.
And then it goes, a steely little clearance. He set the trap with the snooker initially, of course, and a good clearance from Ken Doherty. He needs to win, remember, otherwise he's off the tour. 1 down, 5 to go then as far as the Irishman is concerned. Fraser Patrick had his chances, but it's Doherty who takes it to lead 1-0. Actually, tomorrow afternoon, Gary Wilson, of course, semi-finalist last year, came through the qualifiers, got all the way to the semis where Judd Trump beat him, and he's up against the very talented Swiss player Alexander Ursenbacher. That'll be our main match tomorrow afternoon. Looking forward to that one. See if Gary can make it back to the Crucible.
A lot of things not going right here for Fraser Patrick. The break-off shot with the red creeping down the table, which we see a lot, but I don't think he's got any cover from a bolt colour, so having certainly should have won the first frame, and now he starts frame 2 with a bad break-off. think that might have been on his way in on the treble. So Ken couldn't quite get through to that red initially, not to pot it.
One. Brown ball.
He's played that well. I don't know if he can play on the black. I think
Five.
perhaps he's not straight enough on that red to the right corner to do so. I think there might be an area that it goes from below the black on either side, but I think certainly we've been playing on it here.
6. Give us a second, please, Fraser.
Just a little bit into the left jaw, pot it in on the thick side, if you know what I'm saying. But Rob Spencer's got a slight problem with putting the ball back on its spot here. The ping won't go on its own spot. All other spots are occupied. But where it does seem to go, that would free up the black. Plays the other one, the problem's still there. The black being tied up. Well, it wasn't the cleanest pot I've ever seen, and now he's in a bit of bother here. Keep the break going. He's struggling to retain position. He's keeping the break alive.
20.
Well, he's still going. This Glaswegian, a total of 20 Scottish players have played at the Crucible. I won't ask you to name them all, Neil, but it's actually the second most represented nation after England. Oh dear, but if he keeps missing blacks off the spot like that, he's not going to be one of them this year. And he's really annoyed with himself.
One.
Thor Chan Long, we saw the other day on the main table. He's 1-0 up against Ian Burns. Well, Doherty has seen
8.
not only in the first frame but already in this one Patrick struggling a little, so signs for hope for the Irishman.
9.
That's the other lines there, Peter Lines on the screen. He's taken the first frame against Lu Hong-hao, of course played at the Crucible last year, was whitewashed by Sean Murphy. Only the second ever whitewash there.
Yes, and that was a surprising
16.
result. Not that, of course, Sean Murphy beat him because he was favourite, but Lu Hong-hao had been so impressive. He'd won all his qualifying and he got absolutely drubbed. We all know
17.
that it's a very daunting place to play, but people are happy to go there for the first time and go through all that. For now, but Kenny's trying to get this bunch of reds open here. It's a little thinner on the blue than the natural angle to go into them, So he'll be going into them quite fast. Oh, well, he's unlucky to finish on there. I don't think he could have played it much differently to that. Couldn't have screwed it in, he had to play it
22.
plain ball because, like I say, it's a little thin on the blue. But now, unless he can cut a red in, which doesn't seem likely, he's got to play a safety shot and keep those reds from the two corner pockets out of his opponent's way. So unlucky on a couple of efforts, really. There's a couple of air shots in there, I think, which
Ken Doherty, 22.
in snooker, if you do play an air shot, it's not a foul like it would be in golf or a penalty. But he's hitting that so slowly. The ball barely moved. Quite what Fraser Patrick can do with this, I'm not sure.
Hoping to join his good friend Mark Allen at the Crucible.
This, I hate to say it, but unless a player is prepared to take a risk here, this is going to be a stalemate. But one of the players might want to take a... He's going to find it hard to cover both reds, but if he finishes that cue ball under the cushion, bolt cushion, then no reason why he wouldn't be happy with that shot. Well, that's an outrageous fluke. I don't think he knew anything about that. He may have played to move that red, but not to pot it.
Well, it's such an important match for him, he will take anything that comes along, including flukes.
Yellow. Ken Doherty, 1.
Didn't quite get in tight to the yellow. He's worried that he might have left pot on here.
Well, I think that rolled off. I saw one do that the other day. Somebody rolled behind the brown and it went to the left as we see the table. That, I think, did the same thing. And he'll take that little nudge. It's not perfect on the black, but at least he's got some sort of a shot.
Eight. Foul. Fraser Patrick 8.
Yes, and
Ken
he
Doherty,
didn't come as intended on the red to start with, but it's just not a great start, is it, for Fraser Patrick? Nothing going right for him.
Well, Fraser Patrick will need a frame on the board. It might settle him if he can get one, but until then, I don't think he looks all that comfortable, personally.
No, I mean, for all the pressure that Doherty's under with his tour card, the fact this is a televised match, there's camera operators around the table, there's attention on it, that favours him. He's got all the experience when it comes to that environment. Patrick's only played on TV a few times.
Yes, I remember beating Stuart Bingham when Bingham was world champion early in his next season as champion of the world. Fraser beat him on TV, but as you say, he's not had many matches to choose from. And he's got another chance here, albeit with the cue ball near the side cushion. If he can pot a red here, he could be away.
A little fortunate, I guess, to cover it. Doherty having to swerve.
So early in the match, but quite an important moment for the Scotsman. Interesting red to play on.
6.
He's played on that bottom red. He wanted to get out of the way, but he's got to ensure that he finishes on a colour here. Playing on the blacker down the cushion, that looks a little risky to me. Might be able to play onto the pink with a run through, but he's got to miss the black in doing so. Well, this is not good. Not good.
Fraser Patrick 6.
Playing with a little bit of anxiety in his game.
Yes, and it's very hard to just get rid of that. In fact, it gets worse the more mistakes you make.
One.
Yeah, just checking to see where he can get that cue ball, whereas it's most difficult. I think he was looking at somewhere in line with where the yellow is
Green
down
ball.
the table, where he could get a snooker on almost every ball, but you have to be very accurate with that.
Ken Doherty 1.
That's not bad, playing it that way. Thin edge of the red is potable, or gettable rather.
Thank you, Fraser.
Didn't play it as if he fancied it. Again, the cue ball was heading at the other end of the table. Well, he put a lot into that shot. He had to finish him behind the black, where he's finished. If Ken knocks this red into the middle, it could cost Fraser the frame, that shot. It's a tempter, but it's one that you think Ken could easily get. Choice of reds to the right middle, actually. Can think of other players that would have played the straighter red, the left one of the three there, rather than the one he played. He went the long way round for some reason. Both players haven't started all that well. Ken just about holding the edge. Now this is the red I suspected that Ken might play. Oh dear. He just looks a little bit apprehensive, and like he's not enjoying any of this so far.
One.
Of course, people always say, "Oh, go out and enjoy yourself." It's not that easy to do. I mean, it's a fairly quiet environment here, no spectators or anything. was always a nervous set of matches anyway, but there's nothing to sort of cheer the heart in here. It's just a question of getting through.
6.
Yeah, the whole thing's a very sterile environment because of obviously the new regulations. It's a bubble between hotel and venue on a bus. Can't go anywhere else. It's all about getting the job done, and Ken Doherty with a chance to make it 2-0 here. He's come up short.
12.
Yeah. Played it with right hand side and check, and it did stop the cue ball a touch.
Thirty.
Played that nicely. That's a good positional shot.
17.
He's played 19 times at the Crucible, but not since 2014. But of course there's more on it this year because it's about actual survival on the tour. It's not just about the championship itself.
Well, I certainly need the green here. That's not. There's nothing you can take that'll change that.
Barry pinches there. You can just see he's won the first against Craig Steadman.
That's a good shot as well.
25.
Looks like it's easy where the green is, but it's not actually in, unless he gets right behind it, then it's easy.
27.
So frame ball coming up.
Well, it's got to be said, Fraser Patrick looks ill at ease. He's made a lot of mistakes and just doesn't look at all with it yet. And Ken Doherty has taken advantage in both frames, despite mistakes of his own. These qualifiers, it's really about getting the job done. It's not always about silky smooth snooker. It's about getting to 6 first. That's the target this evening. He's made a good start.
45.
So 45
on the frame.
from Ken Doherty, enough to win frame 2. Fraser Patrick's got to try and get himself together here. Experience telling at the moment. The Irishman leads 2-0. He's 70th. Top 64 stay on. On the 1 year list he's 11th. Top 4 go through there. So on both lists he's got ground to make up. But of course if he wins this match then he will make ground up. So much can happen though. It's going to depend on other results as well. Of course, Fergal O'Brien, his compatriot, won yesterday. He's also fighting for his tour card. But those two, they are fighters, aren't they? And I'm sure he will give this everything. It's a good start. He's not played his best yet, but Fraser Patrick has really struggled.
Yeah, and I think that for Ken, he's probably happy to play this match on the TV table because of all his experience. And you know, there's an argument that Fraser Patrick might not have played it quite the same way. You know, had he been on an outside table. I know you think, well, why? There's 6 pockets on it, nothing's changed. But trust me, you'd always rather play an inexperienced player on the show table, live, rather than outside where there's nobody there. I mean, there'd be probably very few people there if you could come into some of these matches, but it's an advantage to Ken to be playing here tonight in these circumstances, I think, of the two players.
Mark King awaits in the next round, the 3rd round. Michael Holt's also in this section, the shootout champ.
The 3rd frame. Ken Doherty to break.
So 2-0 then to Ken Doherty. One of his great childhood memories of snooker is as a 12-year-old sitting with his dad watching Alex Higgins win the 1982 World Championship, and it's 10 years to the day since Higgins passed away. Gone but certainly not forgotten. He certainly left his mark on the sport. Ken became great friends with him actually in later life, and indeed beat him on his last appearance at the Crucible in 1994. No great surprise that his safety success is 90%.
Just overhit that one though, and I don't know how much Fraser fancies these long reds right now. He's got a choice of 2 to the left corner, but like anyone else would be, if you're not playing at the top of your game, these look very difficult.
Yeah, he seemed to take a while just sort of getting ready to play the shot. Just hadn't settled yet. By the way, if you're wondering about these stats, you know, we put up pot success and safety success, where did it all come from? Well, they're actually being worked out for us by Gary Wilkinson, who was, of course, a top player in his own right, world match play champion, and a mainstay at the Crucible for a number of years himself.
Yeah, no argument there, because often people say, well, the people making the stats, they might say that they know all the game well enough. Well, Gary absolutely knows the game inside out.
I once saw Gary beat Jason Ferguson, now WPBSA chairman, in the final round of qualifying, 10-9, about 2 in the morning. Something I've never forgotten. Meanwhile, that's a mistake from Ken. And that's the thing, Patrick, okay, he's struggling a bit and not happy with how he's playing, but he wasn't outplayed in those first 2 frames, far from it.
No, but in a way that's even worse, isn't it? When you lose frames like that, in the way he lost them, he could have won them both. He didn't end up making any sizable contributions from the chances he got at all. You know, in some ways that hurts more.
One.
So another chance here.
Fraser. Pop it under. Thank you. Thanks.
Played that well. Making sure of it. I guess he had the assurance that he felt that maybe he'd blocked that side of the pocket
8.
on the 2 reds had he missed it, but he never looked like missing it.
No. Run ball.
Oh dear. Well, he had to force it.
Fraser Patrick. 9.
Knew he was landing on a red. I didn't see any way he'd missed that.
One. Three. 4.
Just looking at the bunch of reds,
11.
I think he would see if he's seeing anything in there or not that pots. Either that or he's going to have to go into them.
12.
Taking the pink here, which will be an option. Plays the black, he will play off the cushion into the bunch. I'm not sure which red he's thinking of playing on, actually. No, it was too straight to get on anything that was in the middle of the table. So I think it was a bit of a last resort playing on this
18.
bottom red. I don't think it's in any way that was in his plans 2 shots ago to be here.
Ken Doherty.
Yes,
80.
probably should have done better with that opportunity, Ken. We actually played a good safety shot there to cut off the left side of the table, keeping the pink in the way, by finishing there with the cue ball. So that was something. There aren't too many high points to Fraser Patrick's performance so far, but it's still early. Ken playing as if snookered here. Trying to nestle into the red. Think of 2 cushions. Misjudged it.
Foul and a miss. Fraser Patrick 4.
Oh dear. Well, well. To be honest, he's going from bad to worse here, and I think it's a combination of disappointment and also, you know, in a televised match, you can go through the agonies and you know that people are watching. You can play better than this, a lot better.
One.
Yeah, it's just looking at the match sheet from his first round match with Sean Maddox. He had 4 half centuries, 70, 84, 52, 63. So he scored pretty well in that match. But this is a different scenario, I guess, on television. Oliver Lyons has pulled one back against Gerard Green. Lyons also battling to stay on the tour. 2-1 down there.
Eight.
So we had no updates on the Sonny Akani Lucas Kleckers match because it's actually still in the first frame. Playing nearly an hour. Did hear talk that that could be a long one. And living up to that at this point.
Well, the last bus is 1 o'clock, so they're going to have to be done by then, otherwise they're stuck here all night.
Eleven.
Well, he certainly looked at something in the bunch earlier on, but he never really had the chance to get on the two reds. It's not a dead plant, but it's one of those that perhaps if he's got the right position, I'm not sure if the cue will come down far enough. But any further down, he might have been able to make this into a plant by hitting
16.
one red at an angle onto the other. He believes now it's worth playing a different shot. Like I say, the cue didn't go far enough.
Ken Doherty. $16. Thanks.
Players have to remember to put their rest on the right side. It doesn't go where it usually goes. They each have a rest and it has to go on the right side of the table.
Well, that could not have worked out any worse. I mean, he missed the red careered into the bunch.
I think that one shot sums up his whole evening so far, and you can just see he's getting more and more fed up with every passing minute.
One.
Yeah, the worst thing about this was what happened to the red. Look at what it did to the other reds. Brought them all into play. That was the works. Just get the feeling Ken right now might be under the impression, rightly or wrongly, that he's only got to stand up to win, because he's just getting opportunities come his way and he's just taking them bit by bit.
Good chance for 3-0. You just saw Jamie Clark, Mitchell Mann, one each. Mitchell Mann has played at the Crucible.
Well, he's a bit lucky there because that was not Ken's
12.
smoothest stroke. He was very jabby on that blue, and I've seen it on a few shots. He's not really brought the cue back and finished his backswing and gone through it. He's like a little bit quick, and that is usually a sign of Ken when he's struggling, that he does that. Just sort of thing that can come together, but it's not the smoothest stroke right now, but it's smooth enough to likely take a 3-0 lead.
Say Oliver Lyons, who I mentioned, he actually made a century there in frame 3, only his third of the season.
18.
And indeed the first today. Well, there is some white smoke from the Akani Kleckers match. Sonny Akani has won the opening frame.
19.
No one could accuse him of not being ready. He's been on that practice table all day long in the hotel. And he's taken the opening frame eventually. .46 the lead, so this red becomes frame ball for 3-0.
25.
He's not really been put under very much pressure
26.
so far. We've only been going just about an hour, and he's going to be 3-0 up and already halfway to victory.
$33. 34. $41.
Well, he's clearly done enough
41
in this frame, so
on the frame.
rather one-sided start to this match. Fraser Patrick really struggling. Ken Doherty picking up the pieces, and as I say, already halfway towards what could be for him a very important victory as he battles to stay on the tour. He leads 3-0, 3 more frames and he's through to the third qualifying round. Feel a lot better, but we've been observing his body language, and clearly he's just not happy with his performance so far. Should say that the Sonia Carney-Lucas Kleckers match is live on the Eurosport Player, so they've only played one frame there. Even if this is a quick match, there will be action to follow over there on the Player.
I'm not sure it's possible to practice more than Akani does back home in Thailand or here. As you say, he's been practicing all day. I think it's only possible if you're on one of those snooker marathon charity things where you just play all hours of every day for a charity. That's the only way you could play more than Sonny Akani, but he's doing it for just practice sake. So if ever practice makes perfect, he'll win the world title this year. Good player. Really that have been coming his way. And he'll recognise it's all about getting a win tonight. There's plenty of time to play well, but if you're in the tournament, at least you've got that chance. Well, already potentially a different sort of frame here with the reds drifting up the table a bit. Okay, managing to find an area in vault, so that's a good shot. I wonder if Fraser will be interested in trying to clip that red to the left middle, the one by the brown, and playing down on the black, but he would leave reds if he played it. What he's tried. Oh, well, I think he believed that was in.
Yeah, and he was on the black as well. It did look. Of course, he's also tour position a little bit under threat, but his win today will have done in the power good.
Yeah, I mean, even if they're considered too good to do so. And I think Gould is a very good player.
Well, he's gone up to 59th with that result on the list. Top 64 stay on. Matt Hewitt from the WPBSA, he updates his website, the official website, with all the points positions in after every session, so very useful to be able to monitor that. In fact, it's the highlight of his year, I think, being able to follow all this, tour survival.
Well, he's the go-to man, and it always was before he was employed by World Snooker, wasn't he? A lot of people used to ask him because they trusted him with all the numbers and the figures. Rightly so. I think he caught that first red too thin. The half-ball contact would have swung the cue ball around the... Oh, we saw the situation there. I don't think the red would have gone in, hit the red on the way. Wow, what happened there? What happened there? He missed that by a country mile. We're going to see it again. I don't think Ken would like to see this. What's happened there? Goodness me.
One. Yeah. Yellow ball.
He could just put one. Like 4-0 at the interval, though. You wouldn't fancy it. I think he's got to win this frame, just for his own peace of mind, as much as anything.
Five.
Well, he might have got 2 reds, but he's left this awkward now on this pink. When you consider everything that's been missed by him, this is by no means guaranteed. But it's in.
No, you're right, Dave. It was a well-struck shot.
$11.
But like you say, 3-1, if you could get there, is not satisfactory, but it's not without hope of playing better after a little break. The problem that the players do have is they've got no one to give them a pep talk in person. And sometimes you'll have somebody with you or co-involved in this event, officials and players, and of course us commentators, very few media. Oh dear. That was never in, I'm afraid.
12.
I don't like it if I'm someone supporting Fraser Patrick right now.
Shame after the good pink he polyed to the middle to keep the break going.
I think he was between shots there, Ken, you know. He could have played the plant, but I wondered if he could have tried to just start my career, but also having dropped out of the 16 and having to qualify to get to the Crucible, knowing that your season could be over, there was never much fun in it. Fun to watch from the outside.
Well, the match I remember, Neil, years ago in the final qualifying round, Nick Walker against Rod Lawler, and Nick Walker was 9-0 up after the first session, and all these friends ringing up, you know, who you're playing, can you get us tickets? At 9-8, it wasn't looking so good, but he did just hold on and win 10-8, but my word, that was so tense in the end.
No, I have to say that even though you'd never jump the gun, if you're 9-0 up in a best of 19, you're not really, you pretty much think you're going to be in the next round, don't you? I think I was last off one year in the last qualifier when I managed to beat Chris Small by the odd frame.
Wanting to play there.
foul in the miss. Ken Doherty 4.
Well, I've just slid past it, which Ken will have a look what's available. And if nothing's very easy, I dare say I'll go back. He might be tempted into a red to the middle, but he's probably not going to have much more difficult a shot than that if he does have it put back anyway. Depends how confident he feels. No, he's going to attempt this red, the looks of things. Well played. Well, that's a very positive shot, because it would have been very easy under the circumstances to say, well, look, my opponent's struggling, put him in and see if he can get out of this situation. It wasn't a snooker, he probably would have played the same shot, but Ken deciding that he would keep him away from the table altogether. So well done.
Another latest score. Gerald Green, despite Ollie Lyne's century, has gone 3-1 up.
7. Eight.
I think Ken was hoping that would slow down a bit, but asking for the keyboard to be cleaned by referee Rob Spencer.
Thirty.
Oh, wow. Well, he missed one earlier on by a long way. It's closer to the middle pocket.
Ken Doherty 13.
He's got nowhere near it. Absolutely nowhere near it again.
One.
Well, he's not finished nicely there.
Meanwhile, pressure on this clearly with everything we've seen so far. Struck it well.
Yes, he's still not switched on to the rest even there. Tried to put it round the other way. It's the most natural thing
5.
to put it in those little slots at the end of the table, as you've done all your career.
Six.
Well, this time he's gone a little bit too far, but it's okay. He's okay, just. It's about to
14.
Well, he thinks he can cut this in, and as you saw from that side camera angle, he can, although it's a bit thin. You can see it. About an eighth of a ball cut back, I think.
20.
Well done. That's better.
$32. Fraser Patrick. 32.
Well, certainly didn't have much angle to play with. It was quite straight. He was looking to force it in, just get up the table a little bit. I think that could be why he missed it. Extra pace on the ball didn't help either.
Foul. Fraser Patrick.
Oh dear, the in-off is not good. Patrick kill. Well,
yes, a lot will depend on that. Getting on that last red. Brown's not very difficult for those, where they haven't got close to the pot at all. Yeah, I think 4-0 will be very difficult for Fraser Patrick on the basis of the play we've seen.
another frame over on table 2. Lucas Kleckers of Germany's won it, so 1 each with Sonny Akani. Well, these are the sort of frames from behind he was winning in that world final against Stephen Hendry. Hendry had 5 centuries. Doherty won 18-12. Needs all 6 colours.
25.
Yeah, anything but straight. If he's got a handy little angle on the brown ball, he hasn't got to overhit it and get up onto the blue from it. So I would have thought cue ball along the kind of line it's already on now from where 28. It is on the green. So that's perfect, I would say. Well, that was a little bit quick, but the point is he'll be 7 in front if he pots blue and pink here, so he'll have a little safety cushion, but I just think he'll clear them all up.
37.
Is it hard enough? One thing he won't be doing is taking any liberties with this, I think. He'd rather leave himself something a little bit high on the black, make sure that he's 7 in front on it. He's got a
43.
Played a sort of kind of not dissimilar shot from the 147 he missed, is it? Cue ball was nearer the black, but it was this angle in the Masters that time, the last black.
But this time 50. He's knocked it in, so Ken Doherty dishes up with 50. And that looks like a really important clearance. It was Patrick's best chance to win a frame, but it's gone the way of all the others. It's one-way traffic here. Ken Doherty leading at the interval by 4 frames to 0. Fourth frame could have gone either way. Patrick was in front. Doherty eventually cleared up with 50, and already Fraser Patrick, hoping things will turn around, comes to the table. Snookered on all the reds here at the start of frame 5.
I'm trying to lay in the bottom of the... That's
foul.
Very unlucky, I would say, because I was just about to say what a good shot it was to get that line. I would think. Less than a centimetre. It looks very close to the reds. I'm sure it'll go back. I can't. If he can get to it, I suppose there's a chance. Looks like he can get to the potting angle here.
What?
Yeah, I think with Ken, he knows he's played an opponent out of form. And it has to be, because Fraser Patrick has not played very well at all. You've got to worry about your own game really and try not to be dragged. Not always easy to do that. I think the great players have always done it. They've always set their own standards and have not been phased in any way by whatever the opponent's throwing at them, good or bad.
6. Seven.
I think it stopped in time to give him a choice of reds.
10. Eleven.
This could be a good shot. To finish over there, wondering how he was going to get on the red, but that was the way.
50.
Kind of skirting around the issue of obviously getting into this bunch, getting the high value colours in play. But you've got to start somewhere.
16. Round ball.
Good effort, deserves to be on one, but as is so often the case this week, when you're trying to get into the bunch, often the reds are not
20.
moved. I thought he hit that well and he was unlucky there for sure. Yeah, he's playing thin off that right hand red.
100%. I can get a day to bring it up if you want.
Yeah. 2 hours 3 minutes for one frame. Oh dear. Very little has gone right tonight for Fraser.
Yeah, just saw there Jordan Brown 3-1 up against Rory McLeod. Yeah, Brown is a good friend of Mark Allen. They practice together. Jordan Brown, though, also in this tour survival bubble. He's 75th on the 2-year seedings at the moment, so obviously has to win that match. Possibly one more as well. He's actually, it's quite, I don't want to get too niche about it, but he's actually 5th on the 1-year list. It's the top 4 from that list, and he would go into the top 4.
And the problem is for all these guys that are just in is that so many other points can be handed out around them, because we're getting into the serious money stage, aren't we, even in qualifiers. Shot from Ken, but has he landed on the pink just?
Yeah, the bottom line is if you're winning, then you've got every chance. Obviously, if you lose, then that's the end of the challenge, and Ken came in tonight having to win.
Obviously, alternatively, you don't want to be too far away from the ball you're trying to pot, but there's a middle ground that you're very comfortable with. Anyway, he's got it. Usually plays all the shots in the right way, Ken. There he's played it to screw the cue ball down. He knows it. So if he pots it, finishes down the table, it's going to be on something. He's got a choice of reds here. Yeah, and it's safe to say he isn't the player he was, because clearly, as I mentioned earlier, he wouldn't be in this position in the rankings, but he can still play. Anyway, this break is going to come to an end here, and even though he's 36 points to nil in front, it's not a big lead. He'll be aware that Fraser Patrick has been struggling, and he's just going to put the ball back in his court. Going to keep him tight. He's not going to give him anything back.
Ken Doherty 8.
Yeah, when he won the title in '97, he had a huge turnout in Dublin to welcome him back, bus tour around the city. He seems to know everyone in Ireland as well. I was out with him once, just in his car actually, and he was just sort of driving along. Every few metres he seemed to stop to say hello to someone. How's your mother? How's so-and-so? Seems to know everybody. They love him over there. Big star in Ireland, understandably. And they'd love to see him continuing, hopefully for at least another year.
Well, the chance has come for Fraser Patrick. Red near the pocket, but what might save Ken here is that the cue ball is not necessarily under a great control. He might go through the gap between reds here and escape from that area. Well, I didn't think that gap. There was a gap there that was not very big, and he's gone through it, so that's handy for him.
Well, try doing that again.
Well, it was a ball's width anyway, but that's one thing we do know, because it went through. Very different story, I know, but I can tell you that on the odd occasion you ever saw Steve Davis struggling very badly, he would go to plan B and he would just start running around the table and playing shots really quickly. And I think sometimes it's not a bad idea. It's not easy for every player to do that, but you think, well, getting nowhere, looking at every shot imaginable and missing them. And Steve used to just say, right, I'm going to go for everything and just play with freedom.
Ollie Lyons has pulled one back, 3-2 now to Gerald Green.
I think sometimes you just feel that you couldn't do any worse than what you're doing. Anyway, that's okay. If the black goes, which he must do surely, or else what could he have played on? Just goes.
$40. $50.
That's a better shot than it looked, because he could have overscrewed that and gone behind the red. see a player struggling in the way that he has been, you just look for a little glimmer of something that changes it. Just a good little shot to start you off.
22.
Well, he's a left-hander. He's not happy with where he's finished, but it isn't that bad. I can reach it. In fact, he's looking at the blue. He probably didn't want to go into reds, but if he plays this with anything but screw, even if he does, I think the two reds close together to the left and below the pink, he'll have to hit one of those, which takes him slightly out of control. So I think he's going to play the cannon and just hope it comes out okay. He's on one.
$29. $30.
I'll just run the blue in though. Now he's got to stretch a little bit to get to this one. Well, as you see, he's only missed one with the rest so far, but this one's not easy.
$36.
Good shot, but the same story really. Blue, very bad angle. And that always happens when you're not quite right. Quite your play. Just passes that red, just passes the other one. Great shot.
42.
That is better.
Well, this is much more like it. He's kept it going well. Just got to keep it going for a few more minutes to get his first frame on the board.
I don't know why he played it like that. I thought he could have played it plain ball and just played
47.
off the side cushion onto the red. If he was going to play it like that, I'd have almost preferred him to play on the bottom red, because he could have played in behind that red without a problem there, playing it with pace. He's going to need them both.
$48.
Well, this is the biggest shot of the lot, just to get in behind the red from the brown. No, surely not. Well, at least he's not snookered, which seemed likely for a second. But he's not slow. He's not going to try and keep the break going here. He's got to win a frame, and he's got to make sure this is a good shot to end the break.
Fraser Patrick. 52.
Disappointing end, but still better though from Fraser Patrick. That. Very good pot, wasn't it? Now what does he do here? Not really very nicely on this pink. I just get the feeling he's considering tickling it behind the pink and just putting it back on Fraser, but if he does go for it, it'll be the more attacking option. This was a good pot, probably deserved a better end positionally. Well, the way the Mistral works, and has done for some years now, you can end up getting a few points out of this, which I know doesn't sound right because you still need to win it. But if he's blocked that left cushion off to get to the yellow, then it's possible you could miss this once or twice and be put back. Well, he's unlucky. Goodness me. It's not the double kiss you're looking for. He's horrified. Still, there is a chance for Fraser because this is not easy yellow to green. Probably the only shot that he would be troubling Ken from here in a possible clearance. The rest is easy.
He actually nearly fluked the yellow, didn't he? It was a good hit, but the double kiss, as you say, has left a pot on, but this is the key shot coming up. And there's surely no way back for Fraser Patrick if he does lose this frame.
Two.
Well, Ken didn't even attempt to play on the green there. I know he's looking to get good first safety in, but I'm a little surprised he didn't try and get near it. Maybe it wasn't possible at all. I think there's a gap.
Ken Doherty 2.
Gap between the blue and the brown on the way through to the green.
So,
well, another chance, isn't there, Dave, all of a sudden, and he's got to take this one, I think.
Definitely. Well, he does have to take it, otherwise, as I say, there's surely nowhere back. He's already 13 in front. So just the brown needed.
Three.
He made a good 52 in the frame, having struggled so badly before the interval. Can't imagine how he could play any worse, really. But the brown goes in, and it looks like 4-1. I think if they'd have carried on without an interval, Ken Doherty would have won pretty comfortably. He still might, but Patrick's given himself some hope winning this frame.
18.
Got to still believe he can win. He knows the situation with Doherty's ranking, tour survival. So even though he doesn't exactly look made up by it, he has won his first frame of the match. And still, Ken Doherty needs 2 more for victory. Remember, they're playing for a place in the 3rd qualifying round of this World Snooker Championship in Sheffield. Ken Doherty leads Fraser Patrick.
Well, that red once again creeping up the table, although again it's not quite available to Ken, but you don't really want to be leaving that red as a possible starter. Yeah, the more I see of that break-off shot, the more I don't know how much of an advantage it is to be breaking off at the top level now. The way the ball seems to open up. Oh, that's handy. Very awkward queuing now for Fraser Patrick on this. Oh, I don't know what he played there. A bit more care than that, queuing over the top of the yellow, trying to hit a thin red. There may have been another way of escaping that little predicament than the one he tried.
1.
So Mark King is awaiting the winner of this match. I don't know whether Mark is watching tonight or what he's doing, or whether he's here in isolation or whatever with regards to his match coming up, but I don't think he'll be too worried. I don't think even Ken is going to put the frighteners on him on this performance, because Ken probably would know that should he win,
6.
he'd have to play better than this to beat Mark King. Those two will know each other from old, because Ken spent a lot of time in Essex, over in Ilford playing there, based in Essex for a while.
7.
So he'd know plenty about Mark.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Bill, Mark's dad, used to drive Ken in his early days.
Ah, that's right. That's right. You're absolutely right. I knew there was a link of some kind. I'd forgotten about that. That was for years, wasn't it?
Mm. Anyways, maybe feeling
12.
he's got to really focus now. 4-0, he just looked certain to sort of coast to victory, but you never know. He knows, having played so many years, even when your opponent's struggling, things can happen and things can turn around. He's still got to get to 6. That's the whole point. I remember one year at the Crucible, he went 10-0 up against John Higgins, and obviously that was an incredible run of frames, but Higgins came back to 10-7, and it's one of those things, you know, at the start of the match you'd say to Ken, after 17 frames you're going to be 10-7 up, he'd be delighted against Higgins, but the fact that he was 10-0 put the pressure on. He did in the end win though.
As you say, it's some achievement to win the first 10 against John Higgins though, isn't it? I feel that at some point he's going to have some say in a match.
$90. 20.
Yeah, that world title, one of 6 ranking
25.
events he's won. He's come close in so many big events though. He's been in 3 UK Championship finals, 2 Masters finals, of course another 2 World finals.
26.
At a time of a very competitive era, the likes of Hendry still going strong, and of course the rise of O'Sullivan, Higgins Williams, plenty of other players, Paul Hunter, Matthew Stevens, Peter Ebden, Stephen Lee, those sort of guys all at the top of the game.
Well, they weren't a very wide pack to hit there, but he just calculated, he thought there's a chance he'd be on something, and he's on one to the middle.
$32. $38. $39.
And this time finished nowhere. Now what does he do? He's got the red near the right corner he'd like to protect. Does he try and pop the green to keep the break going? Many a player would play that way, but Ken might be just eyeing up the match situation. It's only a smallish lead, but he feels if he can get the cue ball where he's looking, perhaps he would be as well off as going for a pot and missing it, or certainly better off. Just pushing the cue ball to the bolt cushion here.
Ken Doherty 39.
Happy to leave him on the left red because he's left him straight on it. So even if he pots it, there's no way of getting out of that little corner.
What?
So good pot, but there was nothing more in it than just at 1 point. Fraser might just consider, I wonder if he's got a shot to get the black in play here, because given these few points behind, he really could use that black in play, something high value anyway. I think I'd be getting it on its spot at some point in the next few shots, but certainly out into open play.
Blackmore. Fraser Patrick what?
Well, it's probably still better off there because it might end up potable soon.
What? Blue ball. Ken Doherty what?
And then Ken happy to put the blue safe. Because with the balls as they are, the frame is stacked heavily in favour of Ken Doherty, the former world champion. Fraser looking at a 3-ball combo here, left corner. It's not impossible that Ken could get that cue ball sort of down by the green there. He might be even trying to play a thin red. Oh dear. Well, I think he played the shot to nothing, thin, and to avoid the other red. Going into the red was definitely not part of the plan there.
Good grief, sorry, he says. Well, he might be.
Yeah, I think so. Not only the pot, but the knuckle to get on the black. You couldn't make it up. Didn't look any different in repeat either, that shot. It was very fortunate. Well, this match is just, the standard has not really gone up at all, and Ken knows in his heart that he's only got to play to a certain level to win it, but now he's not even doing that.
No, he just butchered that, didn't he? He's trying to avoid the yellow and the blue, obviously, and pot the black. The opposite's happened. He's missed the black and brought them into play.
I mean, it's easy afterwards. It's an argument to roll the black in, take the points, get a few more in front and play a red at middle to long range to keep the break going there. Both players have struggled when they're hitting balls with any force. They're losing their accuracy a lot. Ken's missed a couple by a long way, and he's the man who's a long way in front in the match. Well, this is awkward bridging, I think, for Fraser. The reason he got up 2 or 3 times. There's a little area on the table, obviously for a right-hander it's the other side, where he got to play with a slightly looped bridge, and it's not always comfortable. So it's like a little blind spot.
Yeah, well, you can see the frustration. Just caught that a bit too thick. So Doherty already 40 in front, but he's made a lot of mistakes as well in this frame. Can he now firstly pot this red as we look at another score? 2-2, they've gone to the interval. Carney and Kleckers, that's on the Eurosport player, and I suspect it will be for some time.
One. Four.
Yeah, we come with another chance here to get this frame won.
Five.
I think he wanted to play on the blue to just slide in behind the reds and also extend his lead in the frame. He's awkward queuing over the brown now to get down for a red from this.
Yeah,
it's not a bad shot.
He needs one more red, doesn't he? So
yep.
This is the one. He's been patient in this frame. He's had to be, but once he got in front, I think he was favourite for it.
Yeah, he played quite a good shot there because he was over the top of the brown and it could have gone wrong, but like you say, just one more red.
11.
So he's on the brink then. One more frame required to reach the penultimate qualifying round of the World Championship to give his hopes of staying on the tour a shot in the arm. It's not been pretty stuff necessarily at times, but he's just getting the job done. That's
18.
what he had to do tonight. He knew the situation.
90.
And he's a heavy favourite now to come through and take on Mark King in the next round. He's very proud of his record on the tour last 30 years,
26.
wants it to continue.
27.
And he's looked after himself, hasn't he, Ken? You know, he's 51, but he's doesn't look much different really from his heyday. Loves the game, of course, as all
32.
these players do. Loves being part of it. Loves playing full stop. That's what he likes doing the most. Still can't remember where the rest is, but it doesn't matter. This frame is well and truly over.
Ken Doherty 34 on the frame.
So it's 5-1, and Ken Doherty, as I say, now a big favourite to come through. Patrick won the first after the interval, had chances in that one, but it's gone to the Irishman. So 5-1, he needs one more for victory.
Not bad. Two or three reds have come out into open play.
24.
Looks tight, doesn't it, as to whether he's on the pink or not.
Yeah, it looks very tight actually. He's right behind it, and he's not sure.
Pink ball.
In a good position to see here, right behind the line of the shot. That's absolutely fine. Yes, because if he does win, he plays Mark King, and then
32.
Well, that's a good shot. That's when he did hit well, actually. I always fancied him to get through the gap between green and brown, but he played it confidently.
37.
I think if he does get through, it'll be better for the run, as you might say, for the match under his belt.
.38.
It's okay. Choice of reds once again.
45. .46.
Now, he's got a red near the right middle, but if he could have that up his sleeve and play on a different red, if he doesn't get on the more awkward positional shot, he's always got that one, although it's fairly near the side cushion, that red, near the pocket. Now it's decision time. I think he's on the bottom red, and it would certainly be the attacking shot. In fact, there's every chance he could win the match from this.
53.
Well, this is already the highest break of the night. Will it be a winning break? A lot depends on this shot.
54.
Well, he's opened them, but Red obviously blocking the right middle for the pink. So he's going to have to wait for another chance.
Yeah, very handy lead, but like you say, frustration that he hasn't gone and finished things off here. Interesting shot that he's playing here, isn't it, with the red 54. Up there. But I think that top left corner stops that red from being easy. It might cut into the middle, you know. Interesting shot from Ken. I think he's left a very thin pot here on that red up the table.
Yeah, knocked it in, but again, no position. Well, now there's a red right over the middle pocket, which he's got to somehow cover. Just when you thought it couldn't get worse.
I think, and be done with it, and if it doesn't go in, it's probably his match over. Big shot. Oh wow, fantastic. That really is. I mean, expression do or die didn't apply to any snooker shot any more than that one, because his mind was made up by where the balls were, Dave.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, when you've seen some of the balls missed and that had to go in, and it did go in.
Cool.
And of course, Ken Doherty opened the reds up, so this is a chance. There's everything possible. That first result, as you can see, Jamie Clark from Llanelli in Wales has beaten Mitchell Mount 6-1. And just looking at down, actually Clark now plays Joe Perry, of course the highest ranked player in the qualifiers, number 17.
So.
Well, it would certainly be a real boost for him if you could somehow find a way of winning this frame, especially that shot on the yellow, which, as we say, would be absolutely as clear as I could be in my mind that that would have been his last shot. So far behind with the reds where they were.
17.
And he'd not gone in. You never know, do you? If you could win this frame, it might change everything. Interesting the way he's played this now. He's actually the most difficult red and possibly playing on the black here, getting those shots out of the way here and now. And then you'd say that nothing is difficult except for the fact that it is the frame that your opponent needs to beat you.
Well, the omens are good with the rest just one missed from 7 attempts.
He didn't play on the black though, fair enough I suppose, if it wasn't quite on. But he'd like to think he could still play a part in this frame. The fact that whatever colours he took, if the black stayed there, he would need up to and including the black to win the match. The clearance is what he needs.
$30. $31. 36. 37.
So there's a little less pressure seems to be on his shoulders, right when it could be seen the other way round. He was getting nowhere and he looked like he was dead and buried here. And he just played 1 or 2 nice shots in this break. Just an air of freedom that maybe the situation has brought about.
44.
That's a little bit short though. I'd like the cue ball a little bit further to the right than this.
$47.
Like I said, the situation is point actually. In fact, he only needs the pink here, so the black is not playing such a big part as all that.
$50.
He looked down and out, didn't he? Left that red over the middle, had to pop the yellow to keep it going, otherwise that red was waiting.
$56.
And in the end he's made a very nice break.
Really good. It's very well done, Dave.
62.
Terrific. 62, highest break of the night. Fraser Patrick keeps himself in the match, keeps the match alive. And Ken Doherty knows he's still got to get this done. He had a great chance in that frame. He's going to have to play at least one more though. He leads 5-2. Chip. Just one winner so far tonight, Jamie Clark. A couple of other players close though. Peter Lyons 5-1 up on Lu Hong Hao. Gerald Green 5-2 up on Oliver Lyons. Jordan Brown 5-1 up on Rory McLeod. Craig Steadman and Barry Pinches have just gone to their interval. So that's going to be a late finish, guaranteed. It's 2-2. Let's hope they can pay that bus driver overtime.
Well, he has left Ken a red there. I mean, strange shot from Fraser. He didn't have many options, but I don't know how, if he really wanted to leave a red like this, it's not as if he left a particularly difficult shot. It was too difficult for Ken. It's worked out in his favour, but I'm not sure that Fraser's shot was the right one. Just that Ken is now going through a little problem of his own. You know, deep in his heart, he knows he should have won already. He should have got the frame one before it ever come to that clearance from Fraser Patrick. And as I said at the time, 5-1 up and cruising, but you know that you need to finish matches off quickly. Don't want any twists and turns.
Whoa.
Well, not quite. He got a shot at the blue, but if he'd hit the red thinner or missed it altogether, I think he'd have been perfect on the blue. Finished a little awkwardly, actually.
Green ball. Fraser Patrick 1.
Well, this is a bit pacey from Ken. He's left the red over the middle, or near the middle. Well, there you have it. The match is just slightly turning, not hugely, but Fraser's got a little bit more of a spring in his step than he showed earlier. Ken slumped in his chair a tiny bit. Still 5-2 up and going okay, but
What?
Yeah, in that last frame he was on 54, wasn't he, and potted that red open them all. If he gets on a colour there, he probably wins. But he didn't, and of course Fraser Patrick in the end potted that good yellow and made the good clearance.
I'll go far to say it was a very good, almost brilliant yellow. I mean, it was tremendous shot, but it was end of match and it not gone in, and it was pretty low tariff as far as the chance of getting it are concerned. Like you said, you know, in his first match against
6.
an inexperienced player, you know, he made decent breaks, a 50, 60, 70, 80 break.
7.
So he's played clearly better than he has tonight in that match. One thing he has struggled with all night is the pace of the table. He's never got very well on the blue. I think at any point he's always been short. And finishing there really does limit your options. You can just drop it in, you can't get anywhere near a red. But with the black down and below its spot, he could roll this red in and finish on the bottom cushion.
12.
He's got to make sure he gets the red. Because Ollie will probably get back on at some juncture fairly soon with any luck.
Foul.
Oh, goodness
Fraser
me.
Patrick 12.
I mean, it was,
Ken Doherty 4.
I thought it was just off straight, but he potted it into the left side of the pocket. To me, this is slightly off straight, but the way he potted it, didn't think he believed that he would follow through like that in off. New school. That is very hard to come through.
Doherty's long potting has not been good tonight. He's down at 3 out of 9, 33%. And Patrick just looking a bit better as well, so things definitely just slightly shifting here. Not saying there'll be a complete turnaround, but certainly at 5-1 it looked a certainty that Doherty was going to come through pretty comfortably. It might not be comfortable now, and he hasn't won yet. Saw a match won from 5-1 down on the first day. Kishan Irani against Robin Hall.
Eight. Nine.
Played that well. Land on that red, although the other two reds by the black, just looking at those from that side view, they're a bit awkward. I don't know if the top one of the two goes into the left corner. It would help if that was potable. At the moment, even though the table looks
15.
promising, the reds are not in very easy positions to score. Misjudged.
Fraser Patrick.
Bottom red is the only
50.
one that was on, and that's the one he's left. So Ken's just got to pick himself up a little bit. Scoreline is healthy, but as we've been saying, just a few shots have gone astray recently. The long game's not really there at all. But if he could win 6-2, then it would be a pretty good night's work. Might go into the reds here, the 5 reds. Well, that's probably one of the few times that he's landed on one when he's gone into them. I think he is on one.
6. Seven.
Well, he's certainly got the balls in better positions now than when he came to the table. He had one red out, the bunch of reds all locked together. But I still think the 2 reds by the black to the left of it are a slight problem. Could be the top one goes.
14.
It'll be handy if it does. It'll be coming to play soon. Certainly the left red will be cleared out the way before too long. The bottom left red. So thinking about getting on the red that he's close up to.
There's the latest score. Meanwhile, Ian Burns, 40.
Yeah, this could be the night, couldn't it, that we talk about for years. Like you do about that match you mentioned. Poor old Gary Wilkinson's name got mentioned earlier. And it finished in the small hours, didn't it?
The very small hours, yeah. Anyway, Doherty hoping not to be one of the late finishers.
There's always a match like that somewhere. I seem to remember the match before Judgment Day 3 or 4 years ago. Can't remember exactly the year that Peter Ebdon came back to beat Gerard Green from absolutely miles behind. and I think they were going to recover the tables, but they couldn't start until that match ended, and it didn't end until very late.
Well, there's one year in Torquay where they had the qualifying
26.
after the European Open that had been played in the hotel there, and the last match on featured Chris Small, and they did start de-rigging the other tables. He was trying to qualify for the Crucible. You could just hear the other tables being taken down.
27.
Yeah, I don't think this match is going to be the one, but like something on an outside table could be a late one. Ken's not slow, is he? 23.2, the average shot time. Patrick is 27 seconds per shot, average shot time. That's when players get beyond that 30 mark that it's a little bit too much sometimes. So now this red's cleared, it comes down to what I said earlier about those two reds, whether the top one will then go to the left
33.
corner. Everything really hinges on that. If that red doesn't pot, now what do you think? I don't believe that does go. It's going to be tight either way. We saw a look at it from the side angle earlier, way earlier in the frame, and I wasn't sure then.
34.
He seems to have the angle to develop the two reds from the pink. Yeah, nice shot. Red along the cushion won't be a gimme though, but he can roll it in with the black away from the spot
40.
below it. That helps. So he can play this slowly and give it every chance of going in.
So close, isn't he, to getting himself into the next round? This is a big shot though.
$41.
Played it nicely. Good shot. Just got a couple more shots to get right here. Oh, goodness
Ken
me.
Doherty. 41.
Wow. After all that hard work.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. So 17 in it. He was so close to getting himself over the line. He might have to do it all again in another frame.
I mean, if you are going to miss that black, you're going to miss it thick the way you did to the top jaw, because you're going to be playing it thicker in your mind to hold for the other red. That's the sort of way that any snooker player would miss that shot, in playing it positionally.
So 9 behind, he needs down to the pink.
So.
Most recent frame, he just missed a black, and signs of concern. Certainly if he loses this one, then it does get serious, I think. At the moment he's still favourite, but 5-4, considering if he loses he's off the tour as well, you factor that in, the pressure really starts to build. Exactly what we expect from the qualifiers. This is exactly what we thought we'd get this week, these tense matches. There's plenty on them all. It's not a good start to the frame for the Scotsman. safety from Doherty. Of course, there's not much he hasn't seen before in the World Championship and elsewhere. The thing is, though, he'd like to see plenty more of it, and he'll only do that if he keeps his tour card.
It's not a bad place to keep the cue ball over in that corner, as far as making it difficult for your opponent. Looking ahead to tomorrow, there's lots of matches to look forward to. I mentioned Wilson, Ursenbacher. One interesting match, I think, Neil, Liang Wenbo, Alfie Burden. Two players who really wear their hearts on their sleeves. That could be really interesting. Very interesting game, very open game. And of course, they played it a number of times, didn't they, last season? I think it was last season. Certainly Alfie lost 3 matches against Wenbo, where he probably should have won at least 2 of them, maybe all of them.
Yeah, of course, there's a new set of players in terms of the seedings coming in. So Liang Wenbo coming in, players like Luca Brissell as well. And of course, Ali Carter in the evening will play Louis Heathcote.
A lot of people tipping Luca Brissell if he qualifies to have a good run at the Crucible. Of course, the problem is he's never won a match there yet, which seems amazing, but it's true. Of course, he will win matches there. But for now, he hasn't won one. He had that match against Marco Fu where he led a long way and lost, didn't he, in the best of 19 stage.
Yeah, of course, and lost to Gary Wilson, longest ever frame in their decider last year. Well, Joe Johnson, our colleague, of course, he'd never won a match at the Crucible until he actually won the title in 86, so these things can change. Doherty just ahead on the safety stats, but it's been not a bad safety really for him. He was in the last frame with a chance to kill it off, missed that black. Still 2-2, Craig Steadman and Barry Pinch is at 20 past 10, that started at 7. So they are quite advanced in the 5th frame, but still potential 6 more to come.
And if it went to a decider, that's sure to be, well, very, very late.
Well, I had a little look to see who's refereeing. It's Colin Humphreys.
They keep him honest, wouldn't it?
He's had a good week, hasn't he, Colin, with Liverpool getting their Premier League trophy as well. He's a big Everton fan. And there's a latest score. Peter Lines, 5-2 over Lu Honghao, although Lu's about to win the 8th frame, so he's actually fighting for his tour place. He played there last year, of course got whitewashed, but he's fighting back in that one.
And while we have this safety exchange, I would say that whitewash last year might have affected him more than it would have seemed, because such a bright prospect, and he hasn't done a great deal over the course of this season. It's difficult for the Chinese players, I suppose. Many of them haven't, a few haven't played, aren't playing in this championship. They head back home. Some have stayed here with a view to playing in this championship. So they've been away from home for a very long time now.
Yes, well, we have an extraordinary publication, Chris Downer's Crucible Almanac, and Lu Honghao set a couple of records he maybe didn't want to in there. Least amount of points scored in a match, lowest highest break in a match. All that is in there.
safety shot that. Yes, and of course only the second ever whitewash at the Crucible, wasn't it? After John Parrott beat Eddie Charlton. Was that? I think it was that when the year after Parrott won it. Was that in his opening match? Yeah.
Yeah, 92. The difference, I guess, was that Eddie was right at the end of his career. This is still very early for Lu Honghao.
Well, that might not be too bad. Yes, I think he's got only quite a long range red here on.
Well, he's gone 4-2 to Sonny Akani there against Lucas Kleckers. Sonny Akani also playing for a tour place. They can't all stay on, can they? So it's a real battle to stay on tour.
Well, this frame has started almost like it's a decider, isn't it? Just very cautious. This is the frame, isn't it? Get back to 5-4, and it really is. There is a real chance that Patrick could win from there. Ken still got a bit of a buffer with a couple of frame leads, but 5-4 it becomes a very different game, in my view. Well, 9 minutes this frame, just about, and we're still goalless, pointless. Well, that's a good shot and not the worst result. He might put his hand up, but I don't think a neutral would begrudge him that. Not quite as close to a red as he would have hoped. When the pink respots, I don't know if he's covered up on anything that he might have fancied potting.
7.
Perhaps the one to the left of the pink would have been pottable.
Well, it's confirmed that Lu Honghao has won that 8th frame, so 5-3. Peter Lyne's not yet through.
He's definitely playing better. I mean, there is no doubt. Not just because he's won those frames in the way that he has, but he's cueing better. He was all over the shop early. There's no getting away from that. And, this has been more like it since the point, really, when he fell so far behind. There was no point in carrying on the way he was going. I know that if he did get close, maybe that same pressure would come back on him and almost go back to how he was. It's possible. But he wants to get there to find out. was a good shot too.
13.
Finishing on that red. There's nothing wrong with where he's finished there. Could conceivably play on the black, but there's not a huge margin for error.
14.
So he played the cautious way, finishing high on the black, which meant he couldn't fail to be on it. Oh dear. That'll annoy him. That'll annoy him. He's just putting
14.
piecing together that little break, getting the balls on their spots, getting the black in the game. And he misses one that he should never have missed, really.
One.
Well, he's just got to use that experience. As I say, he's been in worse positions than this over the years.
Six.
Of course, he had that incredible victory over Paul Hunter in the semi-finals in 2003, 15-9 down, going out to play the last session, and came back to win 17-16. One of the great sessions of snooker we've ever seen at the Crucible.
So.
Sometimes when you've got a ball right over the pocket, the position is not as easy as what you think onto the next ball. And there's an example. I don't know if he's on anything very easily. He might be on the red down the cushion, but not easy.
Ian Burns, 5-2 over Thor Chian Leong, so Ian looking good to book his place in the next round. In terms of Ken Doherty, it just seems everything's hard work at the minute for him. Should have been back at the hotel by now, really. It's all got just a bit grisly for him in this match and could get worse. It's end of break.
Ken Doherty 14.
Even that's not a great shot. He's caught the yellow. So maybe just feeling it a little bit.
Well, sometimes even someone that as experienced as Ken, it is difficult to put a few shots out of your mind completely. And there was a shot or two at 5-1, and certainly that black in the last frame, because it really did seem that he was about to clear Mr. Black to get onto the last red, which was one that he would pop, well, an awful lot more than he would miss. Not the first double kiss like that he's played tonight, Fraser. Well, not particularly well played. Not only the pot, but the cue ball ended up in that left corner anyway. I suppose it's now that he has missed, it's not the worst place to finish. Oh, that's poor. That is. To hit that blue directly on the way back. This is looking a little scrappy, this frame. I don't know who this would suit. Possibly Ken might be able to find a way of getting over the line in the frame now before things get too alarming and it gets even tighter, this match. But you get the feeling it's not going to be one in one visit, this one. More like half a dozen, I think. Oh, that's a good shot. That's one of the best he's hit tonight. Now, how's his cue pal for getting from blue, which is just off straight at the wrong end of the table, for coming down for a red right down the other end. I mean, Ken never had huge amounts of cue pal. It was never the thing. He's always been a touch player. Other players could have maybe drilled this all around the angle. Let's see how. He looks slightly stronger of the two, though, and he has done for half an hour, 40 minutes of playing time, does Fraser.
Yeah, well, he looks a lot stronger, certainly, than in the very early stages, where he was struggling badly. Trying to open things up here. Didn't really come off.
If he's not on the ball there, he is unlucky, though.
12.
He didn't play it badly. I don't know if he's on the red below the pink. That may just be possible. But really, that was a very positive shot and it deserved a better fate. Just on this bottom one. Now, if he could get into the cue ball and get on the pink or black, but it looks a difficult shot. Very well done.
13.
That was very good. Didn't mean to screw back that far. A little bit of an arm waver, isn't he? I noticed earlier on he's one of those that lets you know how he's feeling. It's very tough out there. I can understand it. That cue ball seems to be like a magnet to that right cushion at the moment on almost every shot. That's very good. He's playing a lot better than he was.
$27. $28.
Little nudge on the reds here. Has he got a shot at the right-hand red? He seems to be walking around fairly purposefully as if it's not bad.
It's 5. $36.
Victory for Jordan Brown against Rory McLeod. He actually started there with a 1-2-7, and that's going to, I believe, put him second in the one-year ranking list. Remember, there's 4 places in terms of keeping your tour card from that. So, great win for him, an important win possibly for Jordan Brown, Northern Ireland.
Well, this has been an exceptionally good break. I mean, you might think it would have to be a big century for that to be the case.
43.
But it's 43 very valuable points. Not enough yet. Needs a red in the colour.
Where the balls were when he started it, he's worked them out so well.
Yeah, very well played this.
44.
This is much more like it. And, well, I have to say that I didn't give him much chance. I wonder if he gave himself much chance at 5-1. But right now, things can change, things can turn around again, but he looks a lot stronger than Ken. Ken has been struggling. Ken has got worse rather than better.
49.
Fraser Patrick has improved leaps and bounds in the last couple of frames. Doesn't mean he'll win, but it means he's got a chance.
Well, it's certainly getting serious now for Ken Doherty. He looked the only winner at 5-1, and indeed at 5-2. 5-3 he was still favourite, but it's going to be 5-4, and the pressure really growing now. But every credit to Fraser Patrick for this contribution.
Absolutely.
56. $57. Blue ball.
Well, an excellent break.
Fraser
Best
Patrick,
break of the night in
57
terms
on the
of
fret.
the way it was compiled and the importance of it. 57 from Fraser Patrick. He's now won 3 on the spin. Big pressure on the shoulders of Ken Doherty. Still hasn't got this one. Remember, he's got to win, otherwise he's off the tour, and he only leads by 1 now at 5-4.
Just a chance to get through in another round of the World Championships. But of course, if you're a supporter of Ken Doherty, you probably wouldn't want that at this stage. And he's a very popular player as well. But he's going to have to find a way of just upping his game. I don't think he can fall over the line now. Not the way Patrick's started to play. It looked like he only had to stand up to win at an early stage, but when he didn't do that, then all of a sudden Fraser just found something in his game. But we do say it, and it's not a cliche actually, it's more like the truth, but player so far behind, starting to get back in the match, and all of a sudden when it gets to the point when you can go on and win, then it kind of all comes back on your shoulders again. A lot of matches go that way. Now Ken, I think, has got a red here. That one just above and to the left of the Blackwell pot, and he wanted to get in first. I think he needed an early chance, and it seems like he has one.
Well, 5.
Well, he was a little worried there about the cue ball travelling across the table towards the black, but it stopped in the nick of time. Yeah, I mean, here, look, at his best, he'd probably win that. He could make a century break, but I think for now, something like a 30 or 40 would feel like enough to get him started. Just building slowly.
12.
In the context of this match, that would be a very valuable break. But a couple of the frames he has lost since 5-1, he's been in and a few in front, and Fraser's finished them off really well. So Ken will be mindful of that.
Yeah, that's been the difference in the latter frames. I mean, early on he was making mistakes, but Patrick was making more of them, wasn't capitalising. That's changed though.
Well, that's not the best. He's got a red, but it's not very nice, this one down the cushion. Didn't play it particularly well. Could have gone in off in the right corner. That tells you he hasn't hit the bunch smoothly. Big shot this.
90.
And this next one is as well. Don't think this black will be reaching the pocket at any great speed somehow.
There's the pot success, just around about 87%.
26.
I can tell you, by the way, it's gone 3-3, Craig Steadman and Barry Pinches.
And of course that might get slower as the
27.
match gets closer than it already has been, Dave.
Well, if it goes the distance to a decider, then it's certainly at least 1 in the morning, isn't it? Possibly later than that.
Oh, we're not in Terry Griffiths territory, are we? 3:51 a.m. down the road at the Crucible.
32. 33.
In first, scoring and doing what is required. Yeah, I don't think he's sort of overly concerned about those getting into that bunch at this stage. There's 2 other reds out in open play. Take what's there. Can't blame him. A couple of the shots he's missed tonight were when he had to really force them. Of course, if you're going into the bunch, then you'd have to play that with some pace. So they'd want to be perfect to have to play that.
49.
May just slide off them here because he's got the other red on the right in open play, so I can understand it in playing it this time. But I don't think he'll try and crash them all around the table. Yeah, nice shot.
Well, I hesitate to say that could be the winning shot because he's not over the winning line yet, but what a chance for Ken Doherty to put himself into the next round and take a big step towards keeping his professional status.
Just got a slightly awkward cueing here, Dave. I'd say that would be one possible way this could be missed.
57.
That's okay. Not perfect positionally. I wonder if he'll think about just cutting his losses and putting the ball safe. You know, the black to get the break going. I can think of a lot of players on the tour play the black here.
Yellow ball.
Ken will put the yellow on the side cushion, but play the percentage call. At least,
Ken Doherty.
I guess Fraser Patrick knows he'll come back to the table, but he's second favourite in the frame now.
It's old school, and it could well be a successful approach. 57 in it then, 75 on.
And that's not a good shot.
No, the trap was set and it looks like it's worked, so another chance then for the Irishman, who's been such a great servant of this sport in 30 years on the tour. The only player to win the World Junior, the World Amateur and the World Professional titles. He knew if he lost the match tonight, he'd be off the circuit.
What?
So, as Fraser Patrick was coming back on him, the pressure really was growing. Going to need another red, and he should be through to take on Mark King. Patrick's battled back really well. That break he made in the last frame was superb, where the balls were. But he needs something to go wrong very quickly here. Otherwise, it's Doherty going through.
Yep, I think he's just played on that bottom red. It looks like he's okay.
6.
So this is effectively match ball. It's been hard earned, and it will be very satisfying. He's not guaranteed to be on the tour if it goes in, but he would have been out off the tour, of course, had he lost. And it's gone in, so it looks like he's through to the penultimate round of qualifying. And he'll be satisfied, I think, to win it like this, with a big break in the clinching frame, having, of course, lost the last 3.
$12. $13.
Of course, the break was 57. He played safe, but what I'm saying is he played the right way in terms of setting up this second chance. Put the yellow safe, played a good safety, forced the mistake, and now capitalising on it.
21.
Not played at the Crucible since 2014. He's played there 19 times in his career. And maybe if he got back there this year, it would be a swan song.
28.
Well, Patrick already getting ready for a swift exit.
Ken Doherty. 20.
And it is the end. Ken Doherty has held off Fraser Patrick, who fought back really well from 5-1 down, putting the pressure on. Ken Doherty had to win, otherwise his professional career was over, and he has won. He's given himself every chance of staying on the tour. He's through to round 3 of qualifying. He's beaten Fraser Patrick by 6 frames to 4.